again, Wendy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I really appreciate you joining me today. The topic is successful agile transformation patterns. I just picked 10 that I think are core or important for any organization of almost any size. These aren't necessarily dependent on the size of the organization. They do become more relevant with larger enterprises, but I think they're all important. It's not an exhaustive list. It's not in any order. It's just a set of patterns that I think are really important to consider. So we'll just dive in, and we'll start with the first one. The leadership champion. I think, in fact, I'm working with some current clients now that they really need to create someone to take charge. And this isn't taking charge by telling everyone what to do or having it, solely directing the Agile strategy, but it's someone who owns the Agile transformation, someone who's going to be taking risks, someone who has the overarching vision, someone who's going to protect the teams from external interrupts and things like that, someone who's responsible for keeping the transformation on course. Often when I talk to leadership teams and clients who are in an agile transformation, a lot of leaders are supporting it. And so I'll hear that common mantra that we're behind it and we support it. We're fully engaged in it. But when I'm looking for someone who has it on their goal sheet, who's being measured with the transformation, who is the one voice or the one person, the single point of success, there's no one around to do that. So everyone's behind it, everyone's supporting it, but no one's leading the charge. And I think it's really important for any agile transformation for someone, and as high in the organization as you can go, I would prefer that it was someone in the C-suite who's really accountable for driving and inspiring and supporting the transformation. So in that champion mindset. It's important that they share this role to recreate themselves. So they're creating momentum. They have a commitment. It's important for them to groom their replacement. I remember years ago, Capital One here in the U.S. is a financial firm, and they've gone through several transformations over the years. And one of the things that caused them to stop a transformation and take another direction and then reinstantiate their agile transformations was senior leadership. A senior leader would be that leadership champion, but when they would move on, then no one else was providing that championship momentum. No one else was owning and driving it. So I think a real important part of finding that leadership champion is them doing succession planning so that they're grooming their replacement in real time, spending a lot of time focusing on that and making sure that if they did move on, if they did take another position, that it's going to be a sustainable agile transformation. So that's important. Along the way, I want to encourage people to enter questions in the Q&A box if you have them. We'll try to get to them at the end of the webinar. So we'll try to get to as many as we can. So please, if you questions pop up, please capture them there. I may, if I see something that intrigues me along the way, I may stop and answer a question in real time, but we'll probably punt most of them to the end. So that's that first pattern. I hope you get a sense for some of the patterns and the importance of it. The second pattern is, and these are sort of early stage, so I'm going to correct myself. Early on, I said there's not any particular order, but I think these early patterns are earlier, they're sort of early transitional activities. So finding that leadership champion is clearly a first step. Creating what I would call an agile transformation team. And people have different names for this. I just attended a Scrum at Scale workshop. And you'll have to excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, so I may pause and cough or go on mute for every once in a while, so I apologize in advance. And at Scrum at Scale, they have something called the Executive Action Team, or EAT, and it's a leadership team who's driving the scaling And the Agile transformation team has that same intent. It's a Scrum team that's that's leadership centric, and so the champion would be part of this team, and it's composed of change agents. And again, hold on. Okay, I'm back. The Scrum Master might be the head coach or a senior Scrum Master in the organization, and the product owner would be the change agent, maybe the Agile champion or a chief sponsor. This is a Scrum team who's focusing on transforming the organization. This is a Scrum team, if you will, who's driving the strategic initiatives of the Agile transformation. It's a team driving teams. I think it's incredibly important for leaders and transformation agents and change agents to eat their own dog food and to operate as an Agile team or a Scrum team in order to instantiate Agile in the organization. The backlog in this case is very different. In this case, their backlog, their product backlog, would have strategy and planning elements. It would have coaching and training elements. It would have standards, developing standards and frameworks and tooling, perhaps. So it would be wrapped around all of the activities in order, in value order, or in priority order, that would be sort of unfolding in the organization. They would adopt as many of the Scrum ceremonies as would make sense. Maybe the timing would be different. So I often, these teams don't have daily stand-ups. They would have stand-ups, once or twice a week. But they would have retrospectives. They would have sprint demos, sprint reviews. They would demo or review what they had accomplished in the sprint from a strategic level. What's interesting, in my case, I have down there failure as an interesting edge case. I love it when leadership teams who are driving an Agile transformation, they form a Scrum team, they form a backlog of strategic elements of their initiative in their transformation, and then they start sprinting. And very often, quite often, and I don't want to see this, but it unfolds that they fail their first sprint or two, and they start and their retrospectives are incredibly compelling because they start learning. It's like, oh my gosh, we bit off too much. We bit off more than we could chew. We didn't have enough capacity to drive those initiatives. We have to pull back. And you see that in at the team level in organizations quite often. But now you have a leadership team who's self-directing and they're sort of retrospective and they're figuring out what they can and can't do. And it really gives them an empathy connection. They're leading by example to their teams, but it also increases their empathy from an Agile transformation point of view. They become much more sort of tuned into and empathetic of the challenges associated with quote unquote going Agile. And I think it makes them much better leaders. So that's a side effect of the Agile transformation team often. If that makes sense to everyone. It's incredibly important. I think these first two are incredibly important early.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.